Hi. I was reading a devotional the other day and came across a quote that really stood out to me, and I just want to share that with you and then some thoughts that I have regarding it. The quote is by Donald Miller, and he said, "If our identity is broken, it affects our ability to connect. If our identity is broken, it affects our ability to connect." That would be a connection with yourself. It would be a connection with God. It would be a connection with other people. And if you've got a broken identity, maybe that came from abuse, maybe it came from a tragic accident or a death or something that affected you, and you don't really understand or know who you are anymore because of whatever it is that's going on in your life. You know what? Maybe you don't know who you are, but God knows who you are. And you can rest assured in that. If you take a look at Psalm 139, and I want you to read the whole thing when you get a chance. I'm just going to talk about a few verses that really stand out to me on this particular subject. If you look at verses 1 through 4 of Psalm 139, that to me says that God knows who I am right now. He knows everything about me. He's searched me. He knows when I sit, when I rise. He perceives my thoughts. He knows everything about me. And if I look at verse 13, that tells me that he knew who I was before. He knit me. He knit you. He knit us together. And I'm a knitter. I've been knitting for over 40 years. And I've never knitted anything by accident. I buy the yarn, I find the pattern, I know what color I want it to be, I know what size if I'm making a sweater, I know what size if I'm making a baby blanket. I know what I'm going to do before I do it. That's what God did with you. He knew exactly what he wanted. He knew exactly what he was planning. And he made you on purpose for a purpose. If we look down at verse 16, all the days ordained for me were written in your book. So I know that God knows me right now. He knows who I am right now. He knew who I was before I came to be. And God knows who I can be, who I will be. That's already written. He already knows all about it. So look into his word. If you're struggling with your own identity right now, look into his word. Find out what God knows about you. Find out what he says about you. You are the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. Find out what he says about you. Dig into the word. I don't want to see anybody miss out on a connection with themselves, with other people around them, or with God himself, just because you're struggling to know who you truly are. Get to know more about what God says about you, and get to a place where you can feel comfortable in your own skin, because God created you to be comfortable in that skin. He designed us for connection, and that connection begins with knowing who we are, and you can find that out in his word. Take care.